I'm Brianna from Orange Spiral Arts. I'm going to show you my watercolor and gouache palette that I have been loving using lately. I hope that this inspires you to pull out your paints or some colorful art supplies to play around today. Thanks for watching. Hi everybody, it's Brianna of Orange Spiral Arts, and I'm going to show you my watercolor and gouache palette that I've been using a lot lately. I came to know how to put my own palette together from Tammy Garcia of Daisy Yellow Art. She's a really fun and expressive artist on Instagram and on the web. On Instagram she's Gypsy999, I think, and then on the web daisyyellowart.com. And so thank you, Tammy. I really enjoyed your tiny museum class. And so this is my palette setup. It is a little bit crazy. Yes it is, and I love it a lot. So I'm going to remove these so that I can show you the regular palette first. So this is the beauty. I love it so much. I have a what is the brand? Made in Korea. I think it's something with an M. Anyway, some kind of paint palette that you can get on Amazon. And at the time of Tammy's class that I took, I did not have a lot of quality watercolor or gouache paint, so I just used what I had. I had some Chinese watercolor, which I think is these bigger, I don't know, I think that's what those are. I didn't label everything, which was probably silly. But so in this palette I have watercolor by Golden, so Core brand watercolor paint. I have some Chinese watercolor paint. I have some inexpensive watercolor and gouache. And then even here I put like two different kinds in one, because I wanted to have those colors, and they were similar enough that I just put them in the same little dish, little section. And then this is the mixing tray, which can come out, which is a nice feature. And I could close it if I wanted to, but you just have to be careful that A, your paint isn't wet when you close it, because it will drip everywhere, which I made the mistake of doing right away. As soon as I put the wet paint into the sections, I closed my palette and picked it up, and I carried it like this, and then everything, I had an orange paint spill all the way through my palette. So I survived that mess, and I learned from it, so it was not a huge deal, but something to know. So I pretty much just keep it open all the time so that it can dry out. And then I created these little tiny palettes. These are all Core watercolor by Golden, and I absolutely love them. They're very vibrant, and they just make me really happy, the colors that they have in their sets. My mother had a set of Core, and so that is why I ended up putting them in these little 6-weld palettes, because I didn't have the tubes myself, but I could take a squirt from her art supplies, which was really nice. And then I got some Daniel Smith and some Sennelier watercolor, so I put it in here. My favorite Daniel Smith right now is this green Apatite Genuine. I think that's how you say it. And it's wonderful. I can't tell you, you'll have to try it out. It's one of the Primatek watercolor paints by Daniel Smith, which means it's made with natural minerals and pigments. I'm loving that whole line. The duochrome I'm not as excited about. I bought 2 duochrome Daniel Smith watercolor paints, and I don't know, they both exploded. So I live in Minnesota and the winter is very cold, and when I opened the cap on the paints, they both exploded. So there's obviously something in there that makes them react that way. And then I don't know, I'm just not 100% satisfied with the duochrome, but I do love the Primatek by Daniel Smith. And then these Sennelier watercolor paints were really nice too. Greenwich Village, haha, probably a Freudian slip there. Greenwich Umber, and oh boy, Phthalocyanine Turquoise. That's a mouthful. I'm not sure I said that correctly. And then these were made with some Daniel Smith watercolor and some maybe some Holbein that I had before I got the core watercolor. So anyway, that's how I've been storing and using my watercolor palette, and I absolutely love watercolor and gouache right now. And the tube watercolor paints are quite special. I never really worked with tube paints until I took Tammy's class, and now I really love using tube watercolor and gouache paints. In case you're wondering, gouache is an opaque watercolor. It's made with a different binder, I believe, and so they look kind of like an acrylic paint because of their opacity, but they are more watery, like a watercolor. So they're kind of in between acrylic and a watercolor paint is what gouache is. So I hope you find this inspiring and informative. I will do some painting for you in a near future video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.